Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're looking at a quiet revolution that's happening down on the farm. It's a story about an animal you think you know, but one that's changing in a way that could really redefine the future of agriculture. Okay, let's dive right in. Just for a second, picture a sheep. Go on. I'm willing to bet you're seeing something fluffy, white, probably covered in a thick woolly coat, am I right? That's the classic image, the one we've known for centuries. But what if I told you that very fleece is becoming a problem, and farmers are now looking to a completely different kind of sheep? On the left, that's the sheep of yesterday, an animal we spent centuries perfecting for its wool. And on the right, that's the sheep of tomorrow. This is a hair sheep. It sheds its own fleece, so no shearing needed. It's bred for its meat and its incredible toughness. And it is radically low maintenance. This isn't just a different breed. It's a whole new philosophy of farming. So, here's what we're going to cover. We're going to unpack the 5 surprising truths that are driving this big shift. We'll start with the weird economics of wool, then we'll jump back to the sheep's ancient roots, uncover its amazing reproductive advantage, look at why it's so easy to care for, and finally, see why it's pretty much perfectly built for the farm of the future. So let's get right to it with our first truth, which I'm calling the wool paradox. It's kind of crazy when you think about it. For an animal that's famous for its fleece, what if that wool is now basically worthless to the farmers who raise them? Let's start with the costs. A farmer has to pay a professional shearer anywhere from $5 to $15 to shear one single sheep every year. Now, if you have a decent-sized flock, you're already in the hole for thousands of dollars before you've earned a dime. Okay, so what about the income? Well, this was a recent market price for Coopsworth wool, and that's actually considered one of the better, more valuable types. A lot of other wools get way less, sometimes as little as $1 per kilogram. So you see where this is going. When you subtract the high cost of labor from the rock-bottom price you get for the wool, the math just doesn't work. For most farmers, the fleece, the very thing these sheep are famous for, has turned into an economic burden. And hey, don't just take my word for it. This quote from a farmer just says it all, doesn't it? They are literally paying to have a product removed that they can't sell for a profit. This one single economic reality is the main engine pushing farmers toward a fleece-free future. Now, you might be thinking these hair sheep are some new, genetically engineered creature from a lab. But truth number 2 is that it's actually the complete opposite. They're a return to the past, the original blueprint for what a sheep was long before we humans started tinkering. This timeline really tells the whole story. For thousands of years, wild sheep were hair sheep. They'd naturally shed their warm winter undercoat every spring. Then, about 8,000 years ago, we humans got involved and started this massive genetic project to breed them to keep that coat. And that's how we got wool. But now, after all those centuries, the industry is racing back to that original, tougher model. In fact, hair sheep are the single fastest growing part of the entire U.S. sheep industry today. So if wool is a money loser, where's the real profit in modern sheep farming? Well, it's in the lambs. And this brings us to truth number 3. Hair sheep aren't just a little more productive, they are biological lambing machines. To understand why, you gotta know this one term, photoperiod. It's basically just the daily cycle of light and dark. For animals from places with distinct seasons, like wool sheep, the shortening days of fall are like a biological alarm clock. It tells them, hey, it's time to breed, so your lambs are born in the spring when there's plenty of food. Their whole reproductive life is locked to the seasons. And this is where the hair sheep's origin story becomes a huge advantage. As you can see, wool breeds are stuck in that seasonal cycle. One lambing a year, that's it. But hair sheep? They evolve near the equator, where the day length barely changes. That means they're aseasonal. They can breed year-round. For a farmer, that completely changes the game. And farmers can take that natural advantage and just amplify it with modern tech. By using a special device to synchronize the flock, they can get almost all the ewes ready to breed in the same 24-hour window. The result? Lambs are born in a tight, predictable group. It makes managing everything incredibly efficient and takes full advantage of the hair sheep's year-round fertility. This efficiency goes way beyond just reproduction. And that leads us to truth number 4. Hair sheep are in almost every single way nature's easy care model. They basically eliminate some of the biggest costs and toughest jobs in sheep farming. Just take a look at this data on internal parasites. They're a massive health problem and a huge expense for farmers. But because hair sheep evolved in parasite-rich tropical climates, they have this amazing natural resistance. In one study, while nearly 100% of a wool flock needed deworming medicine, only 7% of the hair sheep did. That's a game-changing difference. And the benefits just keep stacking up. Woolly tails collect manure, which can cause a deadly infection, so they have to be docked. Hair sheep tails stay clean, no need. They also don't need crutching, which is shearing the wool around the udder so newborn lambs can nurse. With hair sheep, that's not an issue. And of course, their slick coats and their basic physiology make them way more tolerant of heat and humidity, a critical trait on a warming planet. So when you put all these pieces together, the economics, the history, the reproduction, the resilience, you finally get to truth number 5. Hair sheep aren't just some passing trend. They are a strategic choice for a much more sustainable and stable agricultural future. This is exactly why they are the sheep for tomorrow. Their ability to handle heat is like a built-in defense against climate change. We've got modern genetic programs that are making their meat production even more efficient. New markets are opening up for their mild-flavored lamb and high-quality leather. And maybe the most important thing of all, by focusing on meat instead of wool, they give farmers economic stability. They're no longer tied to the boom and bust cycles of the global textile market. So it really leaves us with this fascinating question, right? We spent millennia breeding the wool onto sheep, only to discover that here in the 21st century, the most resilient, efficient, and profitable animal might just be the one we started with all along. It seems the blueprint for the future of farming might have been hiding in its ancient past this whole time.